If I may have your attention, please. At this time, we're going to begin the services here in our chapel for Rachel Alison Heiss. As we begin the service, I would ask if any of you has a cell phone or any other noise-making device, please turn them off at this time. Officiating the service here today is Rabbi Karen Kadar, Rabbi Emeritus from Congregation B'nai Jehoshua Beth Elohim in Deerfield. And the Rabbi will begin the service assisting the family in the ancient tradition of Kriya. If I could ask the family members wearing ribbons to please stand together at the front of the chapel.
The family would really love for all of you to take a deep breath right now. Rachel would like you to take a deep breath right now. I'm so sorry that we're here right now at the gate of the high holidays. We don't belong here together. We belong in the mountains. We belong in our homes, we belong with our families, and yet here we are. And life is defined truly, truly by presence. And your presence here right now is everything. You might be saying to yourself, of course I'm here. But there is no of course. We know you have things to do and places to be, and death is never convenient. But for the family, they will never forget that you are here. And this moment you obeyed some kind of mystical divine command that says, it's all about showing up. And you did. So in these moments, we say a few words, we offer a few psalms, we offer a prayer. It's very short and very dignified and very simple, because what's carrying this moment is your broken heart, which of course is an open heart, which is so perfect to have an open heart for this beautiful woman who was all heart. And the psalm that I always start out with is exactly the psalm that we need to start out with now. Esainai el harim me'ayin yavo ezri, it means I lift my eyes to the mountains. What is the source of my help? My help comes from God, who is the maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your protector will not slumber. See, the protector of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian, your protection at your right hand. And the 23rd Psalm, which teaches us so much that while we're in the valley of the shadows, and you are in the valley of shadows, you fear no evil, for you're not alone. And in the end, what is going to pursue you all the days of your life is goodness and mercy and grace and kindness, not the deep sadness that you're feeling right now. So we say the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When you are weary and in need of strength, you will remember her. When you are lost and sick at heart, you will remember her. When you have joys you yearn to share, you will remember her. As long as we live, she too shall live, always a part of our memory. Stephen, do you want to say a few words?
Okay, I tend to cry when other people cry, so please hold your tears to the end. This is going to take a while. So I debated for a while about whether I'd get up here to speak today. With a death this sudden and tragic, I was lost for words. I know we've all been this week. But after the conversations I've had with family and friends, I've finally found those words. We all showed up here this week with a piece of the Rachel puzzle. We're here today to complete that puzzle and reveal the incredible result of an incredible person. Her smile and laugh, famous to us all, form the outside of the puzzle. It's the part that you know best, it's the easiest part to recognize, and the foundation on which the rest of her is built. Some of us have known that smile since birth. Others got to know it as she grew up here in the suburbs, and even more knew it as she traveled between Ithaca, Queens, Boston, and finally Seattle. While we all experienced that same infectious smile, we all got to see it in our own unique moments. As I say this, I know that each of you are holding that image right now of her smile and laugh in a memory that truly only belongs to you and her. But how do we fill the rest of that puzzle? You see, the full eulogy for Rachel isn't the one that's being given here today. Nothing we say up here today can capture all of her. It's impossible. Instead, it's what's happened in the hundreds of conversations this week between friends, new and old, and relatives from across the country. That's how we put all the pieces together as a team, Rachel's team. As word spread from the weekend of Rachel's passing, it ignited a rush of memories. We all felt it. We grasped first for our favorite memory we had of her. See, those are the easy puzzle pieces where you're like, oh, I definitely know where that piece goes. And then just like a real puzzle, we quickly found more pieces through the myriad stories that spilled out of our conversations. On Monday this week, her friends from Seattle held a beautiful dinner to celebrate her life. Over the course of hours, we met her friends and heard dozens of stories about her time in Seattle. And so, dozens of pieces were added to the puzzle. A picture was starting to unfold, and I was realizing that the picture on the front of that box that I thought we were building was different than the one that was coming together. It was becoming clearer that the finished version was going to be even more beautiful than I could have ever imagined. For example, I learned that Rachel routinely develops some of the strongest bonds with people that I have ever seen before. I don't even know how many people counted Rachel as her best friend, but it's a number that makes this introvert quiver quite a bit. People were obsessed with her. And two, I learned on Monday that just as the marketing genius that she was, her Instagram was carefully curated to add only the barest of detail, forcing you to want more. When she said, "We went hiking," Rachel, who was we? Was it a boy? Was it new friends? She always left us wanting more. Her friends this week, however, have filled in those gaps and spared no detail on how Rachel took Washington by storm. Nothing fazed her. We're going snowshoeing? Cool. I'll go rent snowshoes. Also, where do I rent snowshoes? We're going camping? Cool. I'll buy a regrettably insufficient sleeping bag. But not once did she complain. And not once did she decline an offer to try something new. And so, more puzzle pieces were added this week. Yesterday night, a few of us met to cheers Rachel at a brewery, something we can all admit would be something she herself would have organized. There was about a dozen of us around a table, representing people who knew her from beginning to end and in nearly all phases of her life in between. The laughs were loud and constant, and the stories were pure gold. You know, when she showed up to Ithaca, her breakfast order was a black coffee and a plain bagel. Like, just a plain bagel. Like, when I say plain bagel, I mean, like, just a bagel with nothing on it. Nothing. And her New York friends, shocked at this discovery, helped her out. So don't worry. Or the time she was captaining a friend's boat near Long Island. A friend asked where they were going, and without missing a beat, Rachel yelled back, "Mykonos!" and turned back around. And to be clear, Mykonos was about 5,000 miles away at the time and still is. And so, more puzzle pieces were added. As we endeavor as a team to complete this puzzle and image of Rachel, I'm left with joy. Joy that together, all of us in this room, all of us watching online today, who knew her, who loved her, who laughed with her and cried with her, who ruled the streets of Ithaca with her or climbed the peaks of Washington with her, are coming together, each coming with that piece of our Rachel, and together we'll tell that story. Rachel was a shining light to many when she lived, and she will be a shining light to even more in the years to come. I love you, Rachel.
Stephen, that was profoundly beautiful. So I found out that Mark and Michelle are not from here. I'm not from here either, and it's odd to find people who aren't from here because people who grew up in Chicago never leave. So Michelle I said, why did you come here? And she said, well, I always heard stories about how you had to hold onto the ropes because the wind was going to blow you over. So I said, yeah, but why did you come here? And she said, well, I heard stories about how cold and how horrible the winters were growing up in Memphis and then D.C. And I don't know, there was something as I was listening to you that must have been magnetic about this place, and so you came here. And Mark, Brooklyn? You were here for a conference and decided to stay? Like, why? Something was magnetic about this place, and it came together here. And as I was thinking about it over the night, I thought, what was magnetic about this place? This is where the two of you met. You met here. From one end of the country to the other end of the country, you wandered into this beautiful city, and you fell in love. And because of your love, you grew a family. And that was the magnetism of this place, knowing that you were going to be bringing that family together. A few years after your wedding, you became pregnant with twins. Twins were in your family. I said, oh, that must have been hard. And you said, no, actually, it really wasn't. When I looked at you, I thought, oh, wow, you carried those babies with love. You just carried those babies with love. And as is the way of your family, love came easy for you. You knew one of them was a boy. So when Rachel was born a minute earlier, you knew that it was a boy and a girl. And no, a boy and a girl can't be identical twins, just in case you need to ask. You're welcome. I got your back on that one. And there was definitely growing up a twin thing. And Stephen, you, in a very poignant moment yesterday, said, I was waiting for us to turn 40 so that she would turn 40 a minute before me. And I'm sorry you're robbed of that moment. And then when you two were in second grade, Lauren came to complete the family, such an easy child, and your mother and your father said, they kind of took care of themselves. They entertained themselves. She was a big sister to you, helping you navigate the drama in the lunchroom. And this was her advice to you. Don't sit at the same table every time. Move around. And when you think about it, that's how Rachel lived her life, right? From one friend group to another friend group, no cliques, door always opened. And she knew that at a very young age when she was telling you how to navigate, sharing your clothes, liking her sunglasses, sending you a gift of her sunglasses. And when you turned 21, a privilege to hang out with the friends. You became less the little sister and more the friend. Ithaca College, Campus Life Award, Senior Class President, Commencement Speech. Later on, a softball captain, a wait list to join that team. They made the championship. This woman was charismatic. That's the word that kept coming to my mind. She had an enormous charisma. From what I understand, truly a leader without an ego. What leader is without an ego? And she was. Also magnetic, drawing people to her. Brutally honest, but kind. How do you pull that off? How do you become brutally honest, telling things as they are, the way they are, and yet have such kindness to you? You spread out. Stephen went to Denver. Lauren, you're getting ready to launch. And she, as you've heard and traveled the country. and landed in Seattle. I don't know how a 32-year-old can have had a career that was so stellar as her career, but Rachel had a career. McCann, New York, won an award. Boston Beer Company, won an award. Twisted Tea campaign, brand manager. NASCAR, CMA, Dierks Bentley, Sam Adams. Must have been fun. Most meaningful to her was working on the Brady campaign, making our streets safer. Starbucks, another award, Nestle, Amazon. She had a career. And she kept climbing the ladder. And she had a baseball cap for every place she went. And a beautiful scarf. And a pea coat. And she walked through this world elegant and beautiful and fun and vibrant. And from what I understand at that dinner, 150 baseball caps maybe were given out, called the Rachel hats. Energetic. I don't know how she had so much energy. I don't know how she had so much time to have so many friends. Lauren was saying it was hard to get on her schedule, but actually if you couldn't get on her schedule, she kind of manipulated your schedule so that you can go ahead and meet with her. Fiercely independent. You should be so proud that they left Denver and Seattle. It meant that they were confident and independent. And just like you who left home looking for that moment, that place. She loved dogs. I'm supposed to mention Lena, Nilu, and Coco. There I did. She was very organized. Her lists had lists, one of those. She loved the Cubs. The new hockey team, 20 games in one season. That's a lot of games. Loved concerts. She had a frugal side to her, and when it came, you all know that. When it came time for an apartment, she should get the one with the view, the one without the view. The one with the view was a little bit more expensive. Her mother says, "Get the one with the view. You can afford it." And as Stephen said yesterday, Seattle was her magic place. It, in his words, unlocked something in her. Something blossomed. Suddenly there was a balance to her life. Because nature, as you know, redeems. And beauty is a foundation that holds you. And Rachel breathed into that landscape and became part of that landscape. At first it was an adjustment from the East Coast. She kept saying, "The pace is so slow here. People just don't move fast." And her brother said, "Yeah, Rachel, that's the point. People don't move fast." And so she found a way of moving through this world that embraced the beauty and the goodness of this world. You friends, as I look at you right now, different circles, always inclusive. Last night when I was sitting at your house behind me on a big screen television was, maybe 500 pictures that you all have continued to dump in a Google Doc. And there she was with us in the room. She was with us in the room. Oh, look, I remember that dress. Oh, there's Rachel laughing. Wait, who's that person? Oh my God, there she's climbing again. There she's hiking again. Or just even no words as the pictures started to go by, one after another. There was something very settling about that. You could have thought it was unsettling in a way, but it wasn't. That bright, energetic energy was guiding us yesterday and is guiding us now. That dinner at her favorite bar with her Rachel drink, apparently a little too sweet for most people's tastes, on the water in the mountain view. If any of you are here or those of you who are listening online, I have to tell you that the family who could barely breathe in that moment was astounded at your kindness and your agility to organize so fast and to know what to do and to know the right thing to do. Because you cannot get through these moments without stepping on a carpet of kindness, which you have all provided. Rachel wrote, "Find your passion, find your people, seek adventure." I gotta tell you, she was living the life she wanted to live. 32-year-olds tend to be like looking for themselves, in search for who they are. She knew who she was. I think she was probably born that way. But for sure, right now, she knew who she was. She was light, and she was joy, and she was open-hearted, and she was fun, and she was brilliant, and she was a hard worker. Take lots of pictures, Rachel would say. Write things done, create memories. You're going to want to remember those moments. And this moment right now, for many of you, will be kind of a blur. You'll say, wait, I know we spoke really well, but what did he say? And what was that lady rabbi's name again? And what were we doing here? But I want you to listen to me very carefully right now, because this is very important what I am about to say. Any question you ask that begins with why is not going to serve you. It's not going to serve you. It's a bad question. Why did this happen? I don't know. And nobody knows. And if anyone comes in your life and tries to make sense out of it for you, oh, well, she's in a better place. I guess this had to happen because this is what you're learning right now. That everything we really want to know, why the good die and die young, is completely unknowable. That now you've entered into the truth of life. That we do what we want to do and we can do, and God knows her life was filled with tasks and lists and things to do, and places to be, and people to have fun with. And then we get to the edge of what it is that we can possibly know, and we're at the mystery. And you have entered the world of mystery. So don't ask why. And don't listen to anyone who offers an explanation. But rather, how? How do I go on living right now? How do I do what Rachel would want me to do, and that is to bear witness, to be a testifying witness to the power of friendship and beauty? Ask what? What am I supposed to do right now? And answer it the way Rachel would want you to answer it. You live with gusto, you live with exuberance, you live with joy. Because we hold in our hearts a paradox that is true. Life sometimes is terribly tragic, but life is also beautiful. And you will dance at weddings and feel the loss. And your joy will not diminish your sadness, and your sadness will not diminish your joy. So what? Live with that paradox in your heart. And how? Understand that life at its best is a mystery. And where? Any place you find love and friendship and joy and beauty. You tip that baseball cap and say, this is for you, Rachel. Because now, even in her death, She's a very powerful teacher to us about what is important in life. May her memory be for a blessing. Please rise. El Malay Rachamim, Shochem Baromim, Hamunacha Nachona Tacha Kanfei Shchina, Im Kedoshim Utohorim Kazor Harakia, Mazhirim et Nishmat Rachel Shalcha La'olama, Baal Harachamim, Yestered Baseta Kanafav La'olamim, V'yitzor B'tzor Chaim et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachlatav Atanuch B'Shalom Al Mishkavav and Omar, Amen, which means, compassionate God, eternal spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Rachel. She has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, to which we all say, Amen. Please be seated.
This concludes the service here in our chapel. The interment will take place immediately at the family's plots at Shalom Memorial Park Cemetery, 1700 West Rand Road in Arlington Heights. Following the interment today, the family will be receiving calls of condolence at the Heiss residence, 5424 Promontory Drive in Long Grove. That information is on the inside portion of the funeral service folder. If you did not receive one, they are available as you depart. I'd also like you to please take note the family has asked that memorial contributions be made to Seattle Humane, Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago, the Trevor Project, and the National Park Foundation. That information is on the funeral service folder as well, and for the hundreds of people that are watching this live stream, that information is on the website you are currently on. For those of you going with the family in procession, the procession will be forming in our parking lot. Please make sure you have an orange funeral safety sticker that should be placed in the front passenger side of your windshield. Would also ask that you please have your bright headlights and flashing hazard lights on at all times. For an additional measure of safety, our staff will be placing flags on the tops of the cars throughout the procession. As we drive in procession today, please drive as close as safety permits to the car in front of you at all times. We want to avoid having any large spaces or large gaps in the procession, particularly as we pass through the intersections. The following individuals have been selected to act as pallbearers. As I call your name, if you'd please step forward. Stephen, Cam, Philip, and Nick. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise as Rachel, her family, and Rabbi are escorted from the chapel. I'll ask everyone to please go directly to your cars. The family will